I will check both email. All right. So we will start in another few minutes time. So let's wait a while. All right. Last chapter we talk about water. Talk about different stages of water from solid, liquid, gas. We know that the temperature for the freezing point and the melting point is the same. We also know that the boiling point of water is at 100 degrees Celsius, whereas the melting and freezing point of water is at 0 degrees Celsius. For the graph will remain stagnant for ice to water until all ice become water. That's when the temperature start to rise. So if there's still some ice in the water, the temperature remain at 0 degrees Celsius. So we know the process called melting, freezing. We have evaporation from liquid to gas. We have condensation from gas to liquid. So after knowing all these things from last week, this week we are going to talk about the water cycle. How nature recycle water. How our Mother Earth recycle water, and how does rain form? How does all the water droplets come from? Where do clouds come from? So all these things we're going to talk about it today. So we're going to talk about also the pollution. What type of pollutions are there for water? How is water important to human? How is water important to plant? And how can we save water? Why must we save water? So all these things we will talk about it later in today's chapter. So without further ado, let me begin. Water is very crucial for everyone. All living things need water to survive. We need water for our daily activities, cooking, washing, cleaning. But however, how can we assure that the water is clean to use? How can we assure that this one is clean? So let's find out more. The water cycle started from where? Started from here. So when there's sun during the day, the heat from the sun shine on the water, water becomes hot and becomes start to evaporate. So all the water from rivers, from lakes, from oceans will start to evaporate. Water from the ground also evaporate. Living things like plant, animal also emit water vapor. When we perspire, the water on our skin also evaporate out to the surrounding. The plants, the plants one-way channel, one-way traffic from the roots, the water will flow up to the leaf, and the leaf will release out the water vapor, some along this line. After all this water vapor rises to the sky, because in the sky the temperature is very cold. So when you reach the cooler sky, the water vapor will condense. So from gas become liquid, condense to form water droplets, which gather to form cloud. All the cloud you will see in the sky contains water. When the water is for droplets inside the cloud become too big and too heavy due to gravity, they will fall down to earth as rain. And the water flow back to the water body like river, oceans, lakes, or go under the ground. And this cycle will continue again. This process also helps to remove dirt, remove dirty stuff, remove chemicals from the original water. Imagine you have a pool of dirty water, As the dirty water evaporate up to the sky, you will find that only clean water droplets are in the sky. So when it's too heavy, the clean water droplet will fall down back to the ground, giving you clean water. This is a natural process of filter, whereby the water from dirty become clean. Same theory. I have a glass of red color water. Red color water from marker ink. We know that we cannot drink marker ink, but nature has its own way of giving us clean water. The red marker ink water evaporate, the water become clean in the cloud, and rain come down and give us clean water to drink. So that's how water cycle works. All right. So what are the roles of evaporation and condensation in water cycle? We talk so much about, okay, water evaporate up to the sky, cloud so heavy, and then rain come down. So what is the role? There are only two processes for water cycle: evaporation and condensation. Evaporation means going up for the water cycle. Condensation means going down, stand by to go down. So water on the earth is in liquid form, evaporate to form gas, water vapor. When it reaches the sky, it becomes cold, it condenses to form water droplets, and it fall back to the ground. So this pretty much summarizes the evaporation and condensation role in the water cycle. All right. Next up. We need these two processes, evaporation and condensation. Why? Because if no evaporation, water cannot change to water vapor. When water cannot change to water vapor, the water cycle cannot continue. Same thing for condensation. We need the water vapor to cool down to form water droplets. If there's no condensation, water vapor cannot change to water droplets, and we will see no rain. So therefore, evaporation and condensation is the most important process and the only two process for water cycle. So, like I mentioned earlier, water cycle is very important. It is the nature filter for water. We know that all living things need water to survive. And it is important to have water cycle because it provides a continuous supply of water. Imagine all the water on earth becomes dirty. We as humans, if we drink it, we might suffer health condition because it's dirty. We may fall ill. To prevent this thing, we have this water cycle to allow us to have continuous supply of fresh water through evaporation and condensation. That's why we have continuous supply of clean water. All right. So, why is water important to human? Why do we need water? Well, we are looking into different system in our body. The first thing first, digestion. Water can be found any part of our body. Any part of our body need water. One of the most important thing is digestion. You can find water in the juices and various parts of the organs, like in stomach, small intestine, and so on. The saliva on your mouth contains water, help to soften the food. The juices in your stomach also contain water to further digest the food. The juices in the small intestine also contain water so that it allows the food to be fully digested and absorbed into the body. So all these three stages, different parts of the system, needs water. Next up, our blood. Our circulatory system consists of blood vessels that transport blood around the body. Blood contains water. That's why it can flow. It helps to transport the digested food and oxygen to different part of the body and transport waste material away from the body. All these blood vessels contain water. There's no water, the blood will not be able to move. See, our lungs, respiratory system, our lungs also contain water, a bit of water, not all, a bit. There are many air sacs in our lungs, like the small balloon in our lungs. It is filled with a tiny line of water to when the action of gas takes place. So the air sac is a balloon, and the surface of the air sac inside contains a line of water for the gas to exchange. So we have water in every single part of our body. We need water for them. We need water for digestion. We need water for the blood to transport. We need water for the lungs, air sac to exchange gases. We also need water for other things, such as we need water to control our body temperature. When we are having fever, let's say 38.7, our parents always say, drink more water, drink more water, drink more water to cool down. Why? Because water helps to control our body temperature. So it is a sort of a natural remedy to temporarily control the fever. But of course, you need to see doctor. So when our body, why? Because when our body feel warm, we perspire. So as the water in the perspiration evaporate, it cools down the body. So we need to drink water when we're feeling hot. Next up, the lungs. Water helps to dissolve oxygen in the lungs so that it can enter the blood vessel, as mentioned earlier. The air sac bubble, the balloon. Kidney. Water helps remove the waste material from the body when we urine. When we have small intestines, water helps to dissolve digested food so that it can enter the blood vessel in the small intestine. And lastly, water helps to move our joint smoothly. When we do activity like this, and I'm moving my knuckle, there's water here inside to make it smooth. It's like a natural lubricant like that. All right. After talking about humans, let's talk about how is it important for plants. Remember our previous chapter, we talked about plants. We talked about the process of germination. Seeds need the right temperature, air, need water, all these things to grow. When a seed get enough water, it germinates and grow. So water is being poured here. Once enough water at right temperature, it will start to grow and germinate. For the other process is called the photosynthesis. Plant need water to make food. The process of photosynthesis is water plus carbon dioxide make food in the presence of sunlight. When there's no water, photosynthesis cannot take place, and sad to say, when the plant cannot do photosynthesis, it will die eventually because it cannot make its own food. So water is very important for the plant. Next up, transport of substance. There are two types of tube in a plant. One is the food carrying tube, One is the water carrying tube. The food carrying tube carry food to all parts of the plant in two-way direction. For water carrying tube, it carry water from the roots to the leaf in one-way direction. Means the water cannot say, I want to go back. Cannot. Only one way up to the leaf and come out. Whereas for the food, can move up and down the plant. So during photosynthesis, the water will travel up from the roots to the stem, then to the leaves. In the leaves, in the presence of sunlight, it will take carbon dioxide and make food. So water is also very important to the plants. Now, as we advance through the technologies, many of our things become more convenient, become more easy to get. Factories are being built, waste toxic are being pushed out to the water body of the ocean. So what is the impact of the pollution of earth water? Some students say, hey, Mr. Andrew, I see the map. The map got so many water, got so many oceans. Why do we need to care about pollution of water? Why do we need to care about conserving water? We got so much water on this earth. The land is around 30%. The water is 70%. Why do we need to care about water? We have so much supply. The answer to the question is yes, we have so many water, but only a very small percentage we can drink. Out of the 71% of the earth surface water, only 3% is fresh water where we can drink. The other 97% is too salty, we cannot drink. So that's why, because of this 3%, there is a limited supply of clean water, of fresh water. We need to save water, we need to conserve water, and we need to know that the impact of pollution is too high. And bear in mind, this 3%, all this 3% is further split into water vapor, storm water, and underground water. And ice water, ice cap, rivers, lake. So out of the 3%, there's even small amount of percent of water that we can use. Bear in mind that there's still ice cap at the North Pole and South Pole. There's the ice mountain. There's groundwater we cannot get. There's some water that's dirty. So the only amount of water that we can drink is so little, less than 0.3%. So all the rivers, lake, and reservoirs that we are building, all the canal, all that we are building, is only 0.3% of the 3%. Imagine 71% of the earth is water. Out of 71%, 3% is fresh water. Out of 3%, 0.3 is the water we can drink. That's a very small amount. That's why we need to conserve water. Let's look at the different type of pollution. The most common one is pollution of rivers. Some people in some part of the world, they would like to use the water in a river as a rubbish dump. So you can see on this picture, rubbish are being thrown in the river. Are you going to drink this water from the river where there's many plastic? The answer for me is no lah. For you, up to you. But I don't think you want to drink dirty water, right? With all the plastic, all the rubbish inside that contains all those, maybe it's shit or soap or whatever chemical that is very unhealthy and toxic. So hang on. All right, sorry. So I'm sure you don't want to drink a dirty water from this dirty river. Imagine if all the rivers are dirty, where do you get your clean water from? That's something to think about it. Next up, pollution of the sea. Water from the sea can be used for drinking if the salt is removed. The sea also provides us with food such as fish and seaweed. When the sea is polluted by substance such as oil, imagine the ship dump the oil into the sea. All the animals and plants inside there cannot survive because when there's oil on the surface of the sea, oxygen cannot go in. Animals and plants cannot survive. They die. Their body decompose in the water, dirty the water. I'm sure you don't want to drink a water with full of decomposed fishes or dead fish, right? These are the two impact of pollution of river and sea. And this picture shows that the oil is being cleaned up. So basically, there might be some ship accident. The oil leak out. Then people have to clean the oil, right? So, how can we conserve water? We need to conserve water because you see, out of the limited supply, only 0.3% of water we are able to drink. We have to conserve water so that we don't run out of clean water. We can do the following 3 steps: reduce, reuse, recycle, the 3 R's. How do we reduce? We wash the dishes in a tub of water instead of under the running tap. So when you are washing the dishes, do not let the water flow from the tap continuously. Instead, you pour the water in the one tub or one basin, then you wash it through the basin. All right. When you are washing car, use a piece of cloth and a pail of water instead of washing car with a hose. This will be reduce the water. Imagine if you were to use a one running water hose to spray on the car. The amount of water is too much to waste. But if you put on a pail, you can control the amount of water and there won't be any waste of water. All right. Next up, reuse. How can we reuse water? We can reuse water by using the water that we wash the rice and vegetable into watering a plant. So the water we use to wash the vegetable and rice, we can use the water to water the plant. This one also considered as part of reuse, right? Next up, recycle. We can recycle water by treating used water to create clean water. In Singapore, we have this process called the NEWater, whereby we recycle, clean the water from the we recycle and clean water from dirty sources like all the industrial output or toilet water. We move and clean it through different technology and recycle the water. That's how we actually use to recycle water. All right. I'm going to show you a video now to on some part of the how we recycle water, how wastewater is being recycled, right? So let me just share you what about this video to find out how we change wastewater into drinking water. All right. Let me see whether can you hear the sound? Can you all hear the sound? If you hear the sound, please give me a chat, please. Hear the sound now? No. Okay. Wait. Let me just see how can I share the sound then. Okay. Or share sound. Oh yeah. Okay. Now you should be able to hear the sound. Okay. Let me just try to tune now. Okay.
Singapore has been ranked by the World Intellectual Property Organization as the 6th most innovative country in the world. It also has one of the biggest population per land area, with a shortage of freshwater resources and space for reservoirs. The Public Utilities Board was looking for innovative water supply. They eventually approved the feasibility of producing drinking water from treated used water. This was the beginning of Changi New Water Project.
我们新生水厂主要的任务就是为用户提供好的质量的新生水，并且满足他们用量上的要求。在设计过程中，我们要使用好的技术以及有效的自动控制，保证我们在合理能源的消耗的情况下，稳定的提供供水。
Siemens was committed to deliver a one-stop solution to BEWG. Together with our PCS7 specialist precision control, we have supplied and installed the process control system and process instrumentation technology. We have also supplied state-of-the-art variable speed drives, which contribute substantially to the lowering of the energy consumption of the plant.
All hardware is seamlessly integrated into the Simatic PCS7 system. With this solution, BEWG achieves a horizontal and vertical integration from automation to process instruments down to the drives systems.
With Simatic PCS7, we have a better control of our processes. Our maintenance response time is also much shorter. This helps us achieve a very high level of plant ability. Simatic PCS7 comes.
Okay, what you just saw, right, basically how this company helps the Singapore Changi New Water to transform from wastewater to drinking water. So now let's look at
Become for Singapore's long-term.
Singapore use technology to change from wastewater to new water.
Water security. Would you fight on? Or would you give up? This is the story of New Water.
Before 2003, we have two sources of water, which is our catchment water and water from Malaysia. After 2003, we developed New Water and desalinated water. So today, we have what we fondly call a 4 national tap.
But the development of New Water, which is an ultra-pure, high-grade reclaimed used water, actually came years before its launch in 2002.
It was in the 1970s, and basically we demonstrated that it's possible that we can convert wastewater with the right treatment into safe drinking water. But we are too ahead of the technology, so it's a matter of waiting for technology to be further developed. 1998, the technology landscape has changed. The reverse osmosis membrane, which is the core in new water production, it has basically reached to the point where it's cost-effective, efficient, reliable. So we built a demonstration plant in year 2000 to demonstrate that technology is there.
During the time of the 5-man team, the starting is always I would say it's a painful one. There is a lot of consideration we need to take care of. We do a lot of testing, few hundred testing to ensure that this water is very safe to be drink. When the first drop, right, I can recall we gather around the sampling point which open up and we see the water is clear. Right? It's a joy. We play around with water. I think then we drink some water and really we can't taste the difference. Thinking back, right, I think that is something which I am proud of what I have achieved and I can contribute to Singaporeans.
PUB is expanding the new water production. So there's two upcoming new water plants which is in Changi and Tuas. Other than that, PUB is also researching into ways to reduce energy consumption in our new water process and also coming out with ways to improve the new water process recovery.
Today, New Water is the pride of Singapore, embodying our spirit of innovation to turn a vulnerability into strength.
It reflects the can do, try, and make it work. And this DNA, this has been basically been transferred from generations after generations of engineers within PUB. So we cannot be complacent. We always must look for better ways to do things. So this has always been our constant research into how to improve new water without compromising on the safety of new water.
As a weather-resilient water source, New Water plays an important role in helping us tackle challenges like climate change and rising water demand. With constant innovation, it will continue to enhance Singapore's water resilience and sustainability for generations to come.
Okay, so that's how Singapore recycle water. Now let's carry on with the lesson. So Singapore use technology to recycle water, and of course to show that we actually have the ability to recycle water through technology. All right, let's carry on. Now, let's look at the important points that we have learned so far. We know that water is affected by temperature, wind, and exposed area. In the last lesson, we talked about these three factors. Water can continue to be on Earth because of the water cycle, and this is a cycle of water from cloud to rain to water on Earth and to water in the air and back to cloud. This is very important. Students must remember this cycle. Next up. Evaporation and condensation are involved in the water cycle, and it allows the change of state from one to another, freezing, melting, boiling, evaporation, condensation. And it's essential, it's needed for all living things to carry out processes and can be affected by water pollution. It can be conserved by reducing, reusing, and recycle. Reducing means reduce the water usage. Instead of washing dishes, washing the plates on the running water, can wash the plate in a basin of water. We can reuse the water that we wash the vegetables to water the plants. We can recycle water through technology like New Water in Singapore. All these things, then this is very important. You must remember this little mind map. This mind map basically explains the entire chapter. All right, let's carry on. Let us look at some of the questions that examiner like ask for this chapter on water cycle. They will ask you, they will draw a cycle with evaporation and condensation. They will ask you to fill in the blank. We know that based on this thing is cloud, rain, water, water vapor. And we know that condensation is gas to liquid. So the process before the cloud is condensation. So we saw condensation is here. The process before the cloud is condensation. Therefore, Y is cloud. And we know that based on this thing, there's one cloud, there is two clouds. So there's two answers. So either one or three. Next up, we know that after cloud is rain because water droplet is getting heavier. And this option 3 fills the criteria of rain. And therefore, answer is number 3. Because condensation comes before cloud and after water vapor. Therefore, answer is number 3. So the explanation is when water gain heat, it evaporates to form water vapor. However, because it loses heat, when it reaches the sky too cold, it loses heat, it condenses into droplets, and droplets form cloud. Cloud becomes too heavy, it forms rain. And rain comes back to the ground, it becomes water. This is how we explain these questions, all right? Next up, they will ask you, what are X, Y, Z? We know that X, Y, Z is X is water vapor, Y is water droplets, Z is rain. So what should be answer? We look at different options first. Option A says that they are different forms of water. Option B says that they are water in different stage. All right. Option C says that they are new substance formed from water. Option D states that Y and Z are water, but X is not a water. In this case, let us look at X, Y, Z again. X is water vapor, Y is cloud, Z is rain. We know, so based on what we know, right, we can safely say that X is water vapor, gas. Y is water, liquid. Z also water. Just having cloud. Z is water, or shall I say is rain? All right. Liquid or no, solid. Having said that, we can safely say that A is correct. Why? Because there are different forms of water. We have water vapor, cloud, water droplets, rain, or snow, different forms. I can also say that they are water in different states because gas, solid, liquid. But we cannot say that they are new substance because they are not new substance. They are still water, just at different stages. We cannot say that Y and Z are water in liquid because in some countries, if the weather is cold enough, the rain becomes snow. So therefore, the answer for this question is number 2. All right. What are the states of X, Y, Z if they are formed in Singapore? Given that Singapore is not a snow nation, so there won't be any snow in Singapore. So we can say that X is in the gaseous state. Then we can say that Y is in the liquid state. We can say that Z is in the liquid state. All right. Next up. Which of the following are formed when condensation of water takes place? We have formation of snow, we have formation of clouds, we have formation of dews, we have formation of water droplets in a container. So condensation of water must definitely be something that touch the cold surface or something that actually in a cold surrounding. In this case, let's take a look. Formation of snow. Formation of snow, let's see. Snow is a solid. All right. Snow is solid. So snow is water in solid state. It is formed when water loses heat and freeze. So in this case, snow is not condensation. So I can just say no, wrong. A is wrong because snow is solid. Water becomes solid only when it loses heat at freezing point. Condensation is from gas to liquid. We know that water vapor, after it touches the sky, on the top of the sky, if cool down to form cloud. Yes. All right. Then the leaves in the morning dew, because the surrounding night sky is very cold, the leaves, there's dew on the leaves, also correct. Can you all see the screen? I have some people saying that they can't see the screen. Let me just try to share again. You see the screen? Is there any? I saw somebody say cannot see the screen. Can you see the screen?
There are some black cover on your presentation, teacher.
Black hole.
There's something like black square and stuff hiding words.
Black square. Hang on,
That's
let me see whether how do I transfer share. Now can you see? Now is it better? Okay, let's carry on then. So water droplets on a container when it's taken out of refrigerator, yes, it's condensation because the water container is already very cold. All right. So therefore, for this question, the answer is number 3. Because A is solid. What liquid to solid is actually freezing, not condensation. All right. Let's carry on. Which of following statement about water cycle is or are true? Well, we know that water cycle is definitely natural process where water gain heat or lose heat. Also, then B is correct also because it is basically shows the movement of water between earth and sky. Water move up, then comes down. Then we have all living things. It provides fresh water is true as well. Answer is 4. All right. Next up. Just now we mentioned about water needs to be carried out different processes. All right. So we know that water found in saliva, yes. Blood also control, also yes. Water is found in also yes. So therefore, answer is 4. Okay, let's carry on. So which part of processor need water? Yep, digestion needed, yes. Oxygen needed, yes. So because blood need water, so therefore answer is 4. All right. Okay, let's carry on. Sam plants 5 pots of similar seedling. They give each pot seedling the same amount of fertilizer and water them daily with different amount of water. He measured their height on the 15th and study his chart below. So 10 cm water grow like this. 20 cm go like this, 30 is like this, 40 is like this, 50 also like this. What is he trying to find out? To answer this question, we look at the difference in the graph. We have the same amount of fertilizer, we have the same seedling, but water different. Because the amount of water given is different, I can say that this Sam is trying to see whether will the water affects the growth of the plant. So we always, to answer this question, we always look at what is different. From there, you'll think whether what is different, right? We think whether what he really want to know. Because nobody will purposely change something, right? when they don't want to do anything. So in this case, Sam changed the amount of volume of water. Therefore, we can tell that Sam wants to find out how the amount of water affects the plant growth. And then it was 16 cm. So all this thing, in order for them to grow 16 cm, they must give 40 cm cube of water. Why does water help the plant to grow? Because water is needed for transportation and keeps the plant firm. So, students, you see the words in bold. These are the important keywords they must write in the answer in order to get a full mark. So water is needed for transportation and to keep the plant firm. Water is an essential raw materials for making food in photosynthesis. Okay? All right. So that's how we goes about it. So I'm going to send this thing in Zalo. Last week, I never give any homework because it's too little chapter to give. This week, I'm going to give a homework which is quite heavy. I will give the homework Zalo by tomorrow. So students, so please take note of what we learned today and study the water cycle and the different stages. I'll give you homework tomorrow. With that, I'll end the lesson. Next week, we have no lesson because it's Lunar New Year. So now, I'm going to wish everyone a happy Lunar New Year or happy day. And I will see you the week after the Lunar New Year. Thank you very much. See you next 2 weeks later. Bye-bye. Take care. Happy Lunar New Year.